Welcome to this explainer. Right, so today we're looking into what is honestly a pretty baffling case study in, well, resource allocation and sheer chaos. It's called Goonireth's chaotic quest for infinite influence. And as we map this all out today, we're going to see how one single night completely upends standard logistics, wealth management, and just basic interpersonal relationships. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's dive into this. To really understand how this sequence of events kicked off, we got to look at the inciting incident. And more specifically, the highly unusual nature of our protagonist. It's 1:15 a.m. Most people, most entities, are sound asleep. But what happens when an infinitely wealthy, totally illiterate mug of espresso gets bored at 1:15 in the morning? Like, what does that actually look like? Well, to answer that, we have to define exactly who, or rather what, we're dealing with. Goonireth is not a person. Goonireth is literally a sentient, infinitely replenishing mug of premium roast espresso. He's got a literally infinite net worth and, crucially, zero reading comprehension. You're probably wondering, right, how does a billionaire function without basic literacy? Simple. When your wealth is infinite, basic reading is just this mundane chore you outsource to your staff.
Which brings us to this absolutely staggering number, 92. That's the exact number of identical, white-glove butlers required just to keep Goonireth intellectually stimulated. So at 1:15 a.m., these butlers are taking turns reading advanced theoretical physics and classic literature out loud to him. And the crazy thing, even though he can't read, he's totally absorbing it. He's nerding out, processing complex physics with his caffeine receptors, just for the pure fun of it. Until, suddenly, it's not fun anymore. He gets bored, he orders his fleet prepared, and he kicks off a night of absolutely unprecedented disruption.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the complete paradigm shift in what luxury actually means. For us, or even a normal billionaire, something like a Rolls-Royce or Koenigsegg, that's the absolute pinnacle of engineering. But to Goonireth, those are basically mass-produced cardboard soapbox derbies. His fleet is custom-built entirely from materials that literally do not even exist on our periodic table. This isn't just wealth, it's a complete detachment from earthly reality.
So when he decides to go for a late-night drive, he doesn't just take a car. He takes 1,000 custom hypercars. That's his ground convoy. Just picture that. 1,000 vehicles built from alien elements firing up all at once, sounding like contained supernovae. The logistical nightmare of just turning the keys is practically catastrophic. And of course, he immediately backs that up with an aviation fleet. 67 custom-engineered jets. And these aren't your typical private planes. These things operate at Mach 25. To put that into perspective, they make the Concorde look like a folded paper airplane drifting in a light breeze. And just to round out this terrifying arsenal, we have this number, 50 million. That is the wattage of his drone-mounted loudspeakers. Now, he doesn't use these for geopolitical dominance, right? No. He uses a 50 million watt speaker system simply to say hello to his friends.
Let's look at the timeline here, because it really highlights the insane geographic escalation of this joyride. Keep in mind, everything we're talking about happens in under half an hour. 1:15 a.m., he's in his grand library. 1:20 a.m., he's wreaking havoc in a bamboo forest. Literally 5 minutes later, at 1:25 a.m., he's violating airspace over Kuala Lumpur. 1:30 a.m., he hits a riverbank, and by 1:35 a.m., he's at a pasture for a massive confrontation. The scale and speed of this is it's mind-boggling.
Section 1. Deforestation and infinite wealth.
So our first major incident of the night starts in a humble bamboo forest, and this perfectly illustrates the kind of collateral damage you get when an infinitely resourced being just wants to cure his boredom. Goonireth's first stop is the home of his friend, this lower-middle-class panda who's literally just trying to sleep. Suddenly, a wall of neon, chrome, and deafening exhausts invades the forest. 1,000 hypercars are just drifting everywhere, snapping thick bamboo stalks like toothpicks, totally flattening the panda's food supply. At one point, during a really aggressive drift, Goonireth's glove box bursts open, and bundles of million-dollar bearer bonds and solid gold smartphones just spill out into the mud. And what does he do? He just shrugs his porcelain handle and hits the gas. I mean, the financial loss is so meaningless to him that the time it would take to stop and pick up those millions is considered a complete waste of his time. He leaves it in the mud because, well, he's got other people to annoy.
Section 2. Airspace violations for friendship.
Let's move along and see how this builds, because his next gesture of friendship is somehow even more disruptive. He leaves the cars at the edge of the forest, and his Mach 25 aviation fleet tears through the stratosphere. Seconds later, they're over Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Why? Because he misses his best friend, a pixie named Tingo. And how does he show his affection? He deploys tens of thousands of autonomous drones into the night sky, forming a blindingly bright replica of Tingo's face. Then, using those 50 million watt loudspeakers, they unleash this earth-shattering roar across all of Malaysia, just screaming, Tingo. Windows are rattling, car alarms are going off everywhere. He completely disrupts a major metropolitan airspace, deafens a city, all as an absolute overkill gesture of affection. And, satisfied his message was received, he just moves on.
Section 3. Disrupting the gamer ecosystem.
Which brings us to the riverbank incident. This is a totally unprovoked disruption of a highly focused ecosystem. Goonireth spots another friend, Pew the otter, chilling by the river. Now Pew is right in the middle of a massive gaming session. He is locked in. So what does Goonireth do? He lines up his massive fleet along the shallow riverbed. He coordinates a simultaneous stomp on 1,000 gas pedals. Those alien element tires spin in the water and create this colossal mechanized tidal wave. He completely drenches the poor otter, instantly ruining his vibe simply because he has the power to do so. He cackles over his loudspeaker and just speeds right off before Pew can even process what just happened.
Section 4. The economics of Mr. Moo.
Okay, so now we pivot to the climax of the night, and this isn't just about annoyance anymore. This is a high-stakes supply chain crisis disguised as a gamer feud. The fleet swarms down onto a massive empty field, which belongs to Mr. Moo, the bull. And Mr. Moo is no ordinary bull. He's full of pasture green, surrounded by mountains of his prized Naverton mix snack, and he's engaged in a highly complex multitasking feat. He is simultaneously grinding Minecraft, Valorant, and Forza Horizon 6. The cognitive load required for this multi-game grind is absolutely immense.
Suddenly, the sky darkens. The hypercars and jets surround the field, basically pinning this gaming bull in a blinding ring of headlights. Goonireth leans out, his espresso bubbling aggressively, and over the roar of 1,000 idling engines, he delivers this incredibly devastating critique. You're trash at Minecraft and Valorant, Mr. Moo. Your builds are basic and your aim is whack. Look at all this coffee. You can't handle this caffeine.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real issue at play. Mr. Moo fights back. He slams his controller down, defends his Naverton supply, and demands respect. And in doing so, he drops a critical piece of data. Mr. Moo actually supplies 10% of Goonireth's favorite Shamados and Jawaidos. Now, 10% might seem pretty small on a pie chart, right? But remember, Goonireth consumes a near infinite amount of this stuff. 10% of infinity is still an astronomical, unfathomable volume. So by insulting Mr. Moo's gaming skills, Goonireth was actively jeopardizing a really vital pillar of his own supply chain.
Hearing this, Goonireth lets out this rich, aromatic laugh. He realizes the bull is actually right. He's successfully flexed his infinite wealth, flattened a bamboo forest, completely disrupted international airspace, soaked an otter, and almost ruined his own supply chain. He's officially cured his boredom. The energy just drops instantly. He gets on the comms, tells his 92 ballers it's time to head back to just one of his many multi-quadradecillion-dollar mansions to goon and relax. The 1,000 hypercars and 67 jets simply turn around and leave Mr. Moo sitting there in the dark with his snacks.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. We've tracked the data of this bizarre 20-minute joyride. We've seen the literal collateral damage. So I have to ask you, when resources are truly infinite and boredom strikes a being completely unbound by logic or literacy, is anyone's sleep, local airspace, or late-night gaming session truly safe? The evidence we've reviewed today suggests the answer is a resounding no. Thank you so much for learning with me today on this explainer. Keep questioning the data, and I'll catch you next time.